Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Finance Magnates 2025. Great to be back here and in this new wonderful venue. This is a really important panel, a good panel. I think this is going to be the cutting edge of what brokers are going to be chasing in the years ahead, and really how traders are going to be thinking differently about markets. We're going to talk a lot about AI, different tools that are being developed now, that are getting traction now. Let's start it off. Why don't you go? We'll start from this side. Introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about the company that you're with, and really how it's delivering for traders.
Thanks, Adam. So I'm Roy. I'm the CEO of Winston AI. We established the company in April last year. We're building a compliant AI investment assistant, and then it became to this huge financial AI agent that is driving engagement for users on the front end side. It gives them the ability to have their own personalized experience using their all the data basically that we can get in order to make it approachable to them in the right time, in the right place. We launched in November with Benzinga AI, and now we're basically growing since then. And it's great to see that the industry is starting to realize that this is the future of engagement with users. Uh, and I myself have been working in the industry for a while, so it's good to see the changes. As we've been working in eToro, investing.com, tip ranks, ADVFN. So I had the great experiences.
Thanks.
Awesome. My name's Kieran, and I'm head of UK growth at Darwinex, and head of UK growth and business development, I should say. We're an FCA regulated broker and asset manager. Our goal and job is to connect good quality traders to investors to help them scale their careers.
Wonderful.
Braden Dennis, co-founder and CEO of a company called Fiscal.ai. Fiscal.ai is a financial data company. We are seeking to solve the problem of the traditional incumbent data providers manually aggregate every piece of information that a company reports. We do it better, faster, cheaper with AI.
Love it.
So, Dor, one of the co-founders of BridgeWise, I want to say we are the global leaders of what we call investment intelligence, which is the layer on top of data, because that's what we believe brokers and their users are looking for. We now serve more than 90 brokers and banks across the globe, all the way in 15 countries, all the way from Australia and Japan to Brazil on the other side of the globe. 5 years in the business, so I want to say I still like to call ourselves a startup. From a culture perspective, yeah, and we provide tools like AI chat, signals, analysis of every instrument that is traded on the brokerage and bank platforms. And yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Kieran, let's start with you. Because we have really three vendors here on the AI side, but I want to talk about the trader side. How are they starting to use AI? And also, what in general, what sort of data level, what granularity are people looking for? We're kind of in this debate right now about the simplicity curve, right? We have extremely deep financial analysis right now that you're able to generate for yourself. And then there's the decision, which is binary, buy or sell. And what are traders looking for now, and what sort of traders are you guys looking for in terms of the success that they're having, and what's sort of the cutting edge of it right now?
I mean, I'll be honest, I speak to hundreds of traders a week, and not one of them really ever mentions AI because they're constantly chasing what they're still learning now. So I feel like there's still a steep learning curve that people need to go on with trading in general before they even get to a point of being able to integrate something new like AI. I say that people are using ChatGPT and Claude and stuff to build trading systems, but if it was that easy, everyone would do it. And we all know the retail trader is always 10 steps behind everybody else. So there's, like I say, there's just a massive learning curve for traders to be able to trade, let alone build this new knowledge of this new technology and integrate that seamlessly. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think we're still, and I know the guys will probably agree with me, we're literally scratching the surface of what AI will do over the next 5 or 10 years. So I might be saying this now, in 2 years' time, we might be having a completely different conversation. And I might be saying that, every trader is making millions and millions of dollars, but we all know that's, an unlikely scenario.
Well, on that curve of education, though, where are the gaps then that need to be filled in, and there are things like AI can help. So, where are you seeing? Is it changed at all? Is there something new? Is it the same sort of lessons that traders just need to learn the hard way, or is there an easier way?
I don't think AI can help you manage the emotional trauma of losing a lot of money. As much as you might have the best products in the world, the best services, the best LLM, you will never be able, like, you could ask that, how do I deal with, taking this massive losing trade? I'm massively down on the day. What do I do? It's never going to be able to tell you how to feel. And I think that will always be in the way of somebody. Like right now, we have traders who are killing it day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. Why isn't everybody doing that? It's because it's so damn hard, right? So even when you get new tools like this, there's always going to be people who implement it better. And they're going to be the ones, at the end of the day that take home the bacon. But
Well, let's talk about implementation. I did want to come to
I
you.
tend to disagree. Okay, sorry. Again, I think that's the interesting part of the panel, to disagree. I tend to disagree because I think the psychological part of trading or investing, AI can do a lot with, because the AI is the tool. Again, I said investment intelligence, and we have the data. We now, again, through the brokers we serve now more than 35 million end users, and we see it in the data that once users are more, quote unquote, educated, or they feel more educated about the decision they have made, and even if they lost, one of the big problems for brokers is if a user loses, they have some likelihood of churning, and that's a big problem because you paid. So 1 second, and then if we have seen in the data that once they are more educated, even if they lost the trade, they would then come back and try to, again, be better next time, compared to those who have not engaged with the, for example, in that case, BridgeWise tools before the trade. So it's not only making a better decision, but also how you feel about potentially making a bad decision to learn for the future. It's not only that decision that matters. And again, that's my point on this.
Well, along those lines, I mean, there's this. I know you're trying to jump in here because you were going to say none of your traders ever fail. So that.
Oh, I actually wanted to say that the misconception about AI as being like a chatbot is like part of the problem, because it's not about, okay, I'm going to ask something what to do and then it will tell me what to do. I think it's about getting the right tools and the right time for the traders to really support them. They have this kind of bionic arm almost that they can do more stuff with it. So you can get smarter in the way you trade. And I agree with the education part, definitely agree with the education part. But being educated but not trying, just like learning, is not working anymore. You have to try and trial and error, trial and error. So when we bring engagement tools to traders, we don't think about AI just as, okay, ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. It's about, I can empower all the data in the world in 1 second into your screen based on your portfolio and your own experience and what you prefer. And the psychology behind it is huge, because you can touch with each client differently. You can engage with any different kind of content. If you like analyst ratings to help you make a decision, someone else like technical analysis, you will be served differently.
Well, who you sound like is Sam Altman, who says that the killer app for AI is going to be personalization.
Definitely.
Right? And so we'll come back to that just in a little bit, but I want to bring you in here because the layers of data, there is this sort of and maybe you can tell us, is there an arms race for data? And in terms of getting more and more data, but quality data, and getting it fast. And tell us about the value proposition of that and how it's working for traders.
Well, typically traders have been always looking for real-time data, and 'cause that's where they can get their edge in many places. The largest data set of fundamental public company financials has always been a 1 to 2 days, 3 days late data set, even though it's in the public domain as soon as they release it to their investors. And so, last week, Wednesday at the close with NVIDIA reporting, we actually had all of their financials cleaned and consolidated in 3 minutes. And so that's completely changing what's available. And for some of our clients, like we power a lot of AI companies, like we power Gemini. They're a big client of us. We power Perplexity. with their AI tools, and they love what we're doing because earnings season is an event. They're in the events business. When something happens, when a company reports, when a retail trader sees their position down 7%, what do? They go straight to Google. And so it's really important for them to capture those events, and so we've been really helpful, I think, for them to be able to get what they're looking for and serve their clients in a timely manner. Because at the end of the day, this is something that's happening in real time. And to touch on your point, it's emotional when you see a position down 7, 10, 15% at earnings.
Well, people want to know why, right?
They want to know why.
That's definitely
And
definitely the why is the most important thing.
And that, right? Can we bring that in? We think of, okay, earnings, it's EPS, it's revenue. Okay, I can get that within 1 second in a lot of different spaces. Well, then you're listening to the earnings transcript, and that's kind of sometimes filtering through a little more quickly, and people see it more after hours. Oh, it's moving on the transcript. Well, what about something that's happening on? Is there a frontier with an executive who's on TV or
Yep.
spoken in an interview? Are we going to be able to pick that up? And are we going to be able to integrate it into systems that can deliver it right to traders and say, hey, like this guy's on TV right now, you might want to perk up. He just started talking. Tell them before the actual headline even hits. Like, is that the frontier where we're headed? Is that what?
It's not even where we're heading. Sorry, it's about it's not even the future. It's the present. I can tell you, we have applied a similar use case with a 3.5 million users broker very recently. I think like 2 months ago, and we have seen a 15% uplift in the trading volume, both trading count and the size of the trades because of that. Because again, according to our thesis, data is part of intelligence. That's why I said investment intelligence. The raw data has a lot of value, but it's partial value because a lot of users today, because of the lack of know-how, lack of time, lack of whatever, the raw data is not enough. Okay, you need to provide an added layer on top of it that will complete the intelligent, educated trading investment experience. So the why, what happens, all of that with, of course, the personalization layer, what interests me in order not to spam them, to keep them, active, engaged, and of course, to enable retention. That's the secret. And again, that's why we call it investment intelligence as a more of a holistic support to the traders, investors, and eventually brokers.
Well, back to you, Kieran.
What are true? I just want to add one thing about it. Like, think about the why is happened, not as something that just happened and you need to react. People can plan better with AI. And part of the tools that we bring them are scenario buildings. So they can build scenarios up front. And this is a powerful tool for AI. So this is kind of like thinking differently about, okay, it just happened. I need to react right now. I see my positions are dropping. Like, you can plan, and you can plan better with AI.
Yeah, I mean, how are traders trading though? Is that the thing? Like, I kind of like this idea. Listen, this is what I do. I'm teed up on earnings calls, and you feel like sometimes you're on an earnings call and there's 3 other people on it. I mean, and I'm not talking about Nvidia, but if you go down the stack, there's opportunity there. But then again, you talk to traders a lot of times, and they're just on Twitter, like floating around, waiting for, or Reddit, Wall Street bets, and just want to YOLO on the next options trade. Like, where are actually people trading?
So I speak mainly to I don't mean this to sound negative, but the bottom of the barrel, like the fresh retail guys, the ones who, maybe have 6 months, a year, couple of years experience. And to them, the shiny new object is always what they're chasing, whether it's AI or the new course on YouTube, that they're so enmeshed in seeing an industry that's filled with Lamborghinis and money and flights to Dubai and all of this sort of stuff yeah, like the TikTok stuff. These are the people I'm speaking to, and which is why I'm quite cynical sat here talking about there's always going to be guys who fail, because you could throw the best tools in the world at these guys, but they're not focused on that. They're focused on getting the next trip out to Dubai and renting a G-Wagon for the day and flexing it on Instagram to then sell a course. So that's the kind of people I'm talking to, again, which is why I'm a little bit more cynical.
Well, the whole history of this is, that you get, 1,000 traders come in, 1,000 traders get beat up, and eventually you whittle it down to whoever can come out the other end, right? Now, is there a better way to do that? Is there going to be this possibility in LLMs with data that bring people along a little bit better? And I do want to ask about personalization on that, because you started out with a chatbot and it had to be very impersonal. So the regulators come at it and say, we don't want personalization. We don't want tailored financial strategies. There's a whole industry of accredited people who do that. But if you put the data back in and you have personalization, you have an aligned LLM, it can at least steer people in a way that not only gets them to trade more, which was what a lot of brokers would like, but gets them to maybe to trade less, or to make better decisions in general, or at least informed decisions.
I totally agree, and again, I also disagree. Let's take LLM. Okay, we believe again in BridgeWise that LLMs, large language models, are not enough for the financial industry because of two main things. One is compliance, the whole hallucinations, et cetera. I'll not get into it. And second is the niche know-how you need to have. That's why 5 years ago, we started developing what we call small language models, or SLM. Okay, we don't believe that LLMs will be the solution, because in our niche, because of regulation, compliance, and again, the know-how that needs to be applied, you cannot rely on the Geminis, etc. You can use part of the tools they provide or the capabilities, but you need to do something specifically for this niche. And by the way, we could have seen a few weeks ago how the GPTs or alike are stepping out away from providing advice, etc., because there has been some lawsuits, etc., against them. So this is why, again, we strongly believe, we are biased naturally on what we do, that in order to enable a better financial services with AI, LLMs are not the solution. Okay, that's why you need to provide SLM, specific small language models, that can be regulated. I can tell you, BridgeWise, for example, is regulated by or under 15 different regulators, okay, across the globe, that provide us with not, gray kind of approval, but actual positive approval to say, okay, yeah, you can do what you do because everything is traceable. You can explain how you do it, unlike the LLMs who, again, by definition, in the mathematical foundation of them, cannot be explained. It's a one big black box.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but the fine art of compliance and engagement is how you combine them in a way that you don't answer a specific question as advice, but you make people intrigued enough to actually ask the next question. So I think that the more, even if you're the most compliant like tool in the world, you're still not sure that, I'm not sure that everybody knows how to drive people into decisions and doing it within the framework of compliance. So I think most of our work was around that part of the business.
Well, what about personalization though with you? I mean, you seem excited about it. I'm pretty excited about it. Should there be a feedback loop where we're looking at your data? I mean, that's what if you had a tailored sort of trader coach with you, it would be looking at your P&L, looking at the data, looking at what you traded, and then saying, like, here's the mistake you made, here's something you might be interested in. And is that something we should be shooting for? I mean, maybe the regulators are on the wrong side of this.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're the wrong side of it, because there's still guardrails to, keep. I'm pretty sure that the brokers wants more trades, and if there's gonna be no one monitoring that, they can push you anywhere. But I agree with Kieran about the fact that you haven't seen AI yet as being part of the broker growth in the way it can be through personalization. Because if you can combine profiling a user and what he really wants with the broker's interest and the compliance interest, and everybody wins. So we kind of sit in the middle and we look at all those, like in this triangle, and we want to serve the trader the best way we can under regulation and make sure the broker is happy. So how can he be happy? By driving people to their own personalized experience, to their own way of thinking. Someone want the car and a fast trade, someone want a long-term investment. It's very different. How you combine everything. I was product for many years. You had to build profiles. You had to work on that. Now you don't need to do that.
And I think there's the personalization, but there's also the aggregate data. So what about aggregate trader data? I think I want to come back to you because you have so much data. I mean, in terms of say Gemini, what do they want? Okay, they want to know the EPS and they want to know things. They want to know fast. But is there also a market for data for what traders are searching right now? And I think you have dashboards that show that as well. Oh, everybody's trading Tesla. Everybody's trading this. So now instead of personalization, you can take a layer that's really looking at, oh, this is what used to be something you'd see on Google Trends, but this is what everyone's trading right now. And this is where we should focus our data. And this is where we should tailor our the next layer of data, like the feedback loop, really.
Yeah, I mean, well, the technology's changed, but the rules of the game haven't. And so we just try to provide the best most timely, most accurate of like fundamentals. Like we are squarely kind of in the fundamentals world because,
And we need to handle their data.
Of course, the exchanges will sell you a fire hose of quotes, and people will always be happy to consume that content. And if you're looking at what's the most traded volume, and like, yeah, sure, some people want to be playing there, but for us, I mean, it's mostly just. It's crazy how difficult it has been historically to say, give me, the last 20 quarters of Spotify premium subscribers. Because in a press release somewhere, they're disclosing it somewhere. And so, you're
these like numbers. You mean generally numbers that are outside of the standard reporting?
They're
metric?
non-GAAP. They're non-GAAP numbers. But like, if you follow the story of Spotify, for example, no one gives, pardon my French, a shit about EPS for that company. They care about premium subscriber growth. That is it, essentially. And so getting that granular stuff has been really helpful for a lot of individuals because they're like, okay, I understand that business. That's the number I need to follow. And I'm going to block out all the other noise. And I think that's really helpful, especially if someone wants to like invest in something and own it for a long time and, be an investor in Spotify in this example for the next 10 years. That is the number for them to track. And so that have one place for them where they don't have to go dig through the press release, model it in their spreadsheet. Like analysts want to do that, individuals don't.
So and then you need to aggregate everything, right? So they're bringing more data, which is super valuable. Imagine how much data they can provide on top of what you have already. Guys like Brandon, it's great for us because they're bringing more data and we can consume that data super fast. So now you get the data that you want right now based on all the things that he's providing. So he doesn't care how much data he will provide. He wants to provide as much data as he can. We need to handle it, right? We need to have a layer that sits on top of it and saying, okay, Adam wants this right now. But Braden wants something else.
So let's bring it back. Tell us what's working right now.
I want to add another point of view from the broker side, okay? Because in the end of the day, we are a B2B company or B2B2C. We serve brokers. They are paying our bills. And to your question, now again, for example, our AI chat. Not only the users benefit, we provide an aggregated view of what the clients are asking real time. So the broker, the sales desks, whoever is marketing teams, whoever is engaging with their clients, either in acquisition campaigns or retention efforts, they know real time what their users are asking in terms of asset classes, which markets are interesting to them, what specific data point they're after, whether fundamentals, news, macro, because they're asking our chat and we expose it on the backstage to them on a per user basis, on an aggregated basis, on a segmented basis. So it's not only an intelligence tool for the users, which is an important thing, but in the end of the day, in order to monetize and create a positive ROI, the brokers need to be able to measure in a tangible way how it's impacting their business. Because again, I can tell you those services are not cheap. But on the other hand, if you as a business see the positive ROI in a second or in a few weeks.
Are they, right? And they are.
Yeah, and you see the ARPUs are going up by nice margins, okay? Then it's a no-brainer because it's a tool for you. It's a win for you as a broker. It's a win for the end user. Everyone enjoys through the value chain.
Go ahead. Give us a final thought on what you think is working right now and the data that people are after. So same to you, Roy. Like, what is you, and then I'll come to you.
So
Yeah, I can.
Like, what are people? I could ask you too, Kieran. Like, what are
Yeah,
what is changing right now, and what are people after? Or is really
people are usually after investment opportunities, right? That's what they care about. Either validate their ideas or getting new ideas. So that's most of the focus that they have. But what really works is what relates to their portfolio. So any engagement relates to their portfolio is what they care about. But it's not about just, okay, so how do I get more data on Apple to you because you hold Apple? Is what other things do you need to know about the competitors of Apple or the other opportunities in the market because you have Apple? So this is, I think, where people are more engaged.
and Kieran, like, put your optimistic hat on for a second. What
I don't know if I can do that.
well, what can help traders? How do we how does traders' education get better from here?
I'll be honest, I don't know. But there's one thing that we're putting together is we call it Market Pulse. And we're taking all of the data from our traders. It's probably not as sophisticated as some of the platforms that we have up here, but it's an insight into the Darwinex ecosystem as a whole, how people are positioned within reason. Obviously, we can't say this trader is long on the euro dollar, for example. But that is something that all of our traders are crying out for. If people aren't aware on Darwinex, your track record is verified. So me as a trader, my track record is on there. So if I'm talking to you, you know exactly what I return month in, month out. So if I start talking and you respect me because my numbers are good, and you can see my data, or at least have a lens into my data, that to you is valuable, right? Because you can make a decision moving forward based on what the good traders are doing, or
That's the data we really need. Is this the scam artist? We need a comprehensive database of financial scam artists.
You can today you can
exclude
upload
them.
everything into a.
Get them up.
I think as well. I mean, from listening to this conversation, I presume a lot of the stuff up here is, around portfolios and stocks. Whereas I'm talking to day traders, people who, again, the bottom of the barrel, people who are trying trading for the first time, and they will open up MetaTrader and they'll just sling any trade that they
They
think
would
they
still ask though, what should I invest right now? And you need to answer it in a way that will drive them into something interesting.
they will, but it's a little bit different.
That's
Again,
the most common question, but
yeah, like I, I if somebody's taken a trade and maybe they've been doing this for 6 months, they're going to be so emotional that they'll be sat there with the phone ready.
you're 50x on the position, yeah.
And if I say, "Oh, I'm long on the euro dollar today. I'm up 500 points or whatever," and they go,
What
"Oh,
we're saying is we need cultural change. Is what we need cultural change in trading.
I just always say if 90% of people are buying something, and I tend to judge this with sentiment in like Discord groups, Twitter or X, YouTube. If everybody is long on something, generally, what's gonna happen.
Sentiment is the killer app. Tough to measure as well, even with data, but maybe not.
the 6 best fidelity accounts of the last 30 years were people that had either passed away or forgot the password. So, I mean, what does that tell you about investing? It tells you that it rewards good behavior and it rewards patience. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if we can give investors the tools to act a certain way, to be more rational, and at the end of the day, the rules haven't changed. Behavior and these kinds of things, investing is with your stomach, not with your brain.
Yeah.
So I think that is really important in this journey for these people.
That's a perfect note to end on. I mean, we're talking about this world of data that's just exploding, getting more easy to distill, getting easier to find anything. And Warren Buffett talked about really the trading is simplicity. And you have to ultimately, with these tools that we have in the psychology and working with traders, is distill something down to the simple conviction in an idea and holding it. So wonderful discussion. If you're here, I'm sure you can find these guys around here. Thanks so much for coming. And
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Adam.
Thank you very much. Take care.